Okay. It's always going to be emotional when the season ends. You know, somebody's going to lose the next game. Somebody's going to lose the game Monday night. You start the season off as one of 355, hoping that you're one of 68. Then you go from 68, trying to get to 32 to 16. Then if you're really, really fortunate and you have a really good team, you get from 16 to 8. And then the same thing, 8 to 4. Well, this team went from 355 to 4. I told those guys how appreciative I was for their commitment to team, and probably the toughest year for any of us. Not just a bubble here, but COVID challenges, isolation, being sequestered, quarantined, social distancing, masks. This was quite a year. But the sting of this will leave them. Days will turn into weeks and weeks to months and months to years. But what they'll remember is the memories, and realize that being 28-4, cutting down 2 nets, conference tournament champions, Midwest regional champions, and going to a Final Four. That's a heck of an accomplishment for this group of kids. So proud of them. Locker room was really emotional. Those guys invested a lot in this, but we ran into a really good team tonight. Didn't play well, and that team we played had a lot to do with it.
Thank you, Coach. Now we will go to questions from the media. Use the raise hand function to indicate you want to ask a question. When called upon, please state your name and affiliation first. Our first question will be from Brian Smith of the Houston Chronicle. Brian, if you can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Kelvin, Brian Smith, Houston Chronicle. What does it mean for this program with everything that you're building and the previous teams, for you guys to reach this stage, to be one of 4 teams left in the NCAA tournament? Because there's this season, but there's also what you were building the last few years and what you're going to continue to build, and what this can do for the University of Houston basketball.
I think we needed to get further. This potentially could have been the 3rd straight year of a Sweet 16. If the kid doesn't hit that great shot he made, fortunate shot against Michigan, that could have been a Sweet 16. The next year against Kentucky, a Sweet 16, and then this year, Sweet 16. But getting the next step. Once we got to the Elite 8, that's where you want your program to be. You want it to improve, to get better. I know how difficult it is to get to a Final Four. One of my really, really good friends is Gene Cady from Purdue. He had a Hall of Fame coaching career, and he never went to one Final Four. That shows you how difficult it is. John Chaney, Temple Hall of Famer, never went to one Final Four. So just say, well, next year you can get back to the Final Four. May never go to another Final Four. Those are hard to get to. Look at all the teams that's never been to one. You don't ever think those things are they owe you. That, oh, well, we got to one, we can get to another one. Maybe, maybe not. That's why you focus on the things you can control, and keep recruiting good kids. Work on improving your roster, establishing chemistry, keep creating the right kind of culture with the right kind of kids, and who knows, you may. But this was an important year for us because we had a good team. The team we had this year was capable of getting to the next step. The teams we beat, Rutgers, Syracuse, Oregon State, those teams beat good teams. Oregon State beat Oklahoma State. Oregon State beat Tennessee, and Loyola Chicago. Loyola Chicago beat Illinois, but we beat the team that beat all of them. That gave us great credibility. So I understand your question, Brian, but getting to the Elite Eight was a great accomplishment. That's what I wanted for this program, for this group of kids. I wanted them to get to the next step. Getting to the Final Four, you don't ever plan on that. If you did, the 4 1 seeds would get there. You know, Michigan had a heck of a year. Illinois was outstanding. They were 1 seeds, but they didn't make the Final Four because you never know. You got to be good. You got to be play good on that night. But so impressed with Baylor. I keep going back to them. Butler, Mitchell, Teague, Flagler, Mayer. I don't think I've seen a team with 5 guards at that level. No drop off. And they were good at both ends. That's why I was proud of our kids the second half. You know, I get people will rationalize why we came back the second half. I get that. But we did, and that wasn't easy to do. You know, it was an emotional locker room at halftime, and we came out of the locker room, and our kids competed. But Baylor is clearly the best team that we've played. They may be the best team we've played in the 7 years I've been here. I'm trying to think who's been better than them. I don't want to slide anybody. I just can't remember. And we've beaten a lot of good teams. We've beaten Oregon, LSU, Arkansas, Ohio State, a lot of teams. That's the best team that I've seen in the 7 years I've been at Houston. They're really, really good.
Our next question is from Aaron Beard of the Associated Press. Aaron, go ahead, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, Kelvin. Defense and rebounding have been the 2 things that have driven you guys to where you are. In the first half, you guys were beaten on the boards. You were having trouble getting stops. You just credited how good Baylor is. Was there anything else that you could explain why those calling cards for you guys just wasn't coming together like you needed today?
Yeah, I think the rebounding part is our guards have always, our guards rebound. And when you look at halftime, we've got 2 high-level rebounding guards in Grimes and Giroux. At halftime, they had the same amount as I did, 0. That's a problem. When our guards aren't rebounding, we're going to struggle. And then offensively, it was just the pressure and the turnovers. We had so many 4-point possessions. Dejan would lose control, and next thing you know, they go down in a 5-point possession. They were hitting threes a lot. It went from 4 to 10, and then from 10 to 20 fast. But a lot of that was them. A lot of it was us. Our turnovers. But they're good at that. They do that to everybody. They did it. We watched them do it to Villanova. We watched them do it to Wisconsin. They're up 29-11 on Arkansas for that one reason. They turn you over and they go score. And those 3 guards, are unique in that they can shoot threes, make free throws, and then get to the rim and finish. Teague is a great finisher. Mitchell's a good finisher. And Butler's just a natural scorer. So turnovers that led to easy baskets. And then our guards not rebounding. When our guards doesn't rebound, it puts all the pressure on 2 positions, and we can't rebound 2 positions against a team like Baylor.
Our next question is from Andy Yannis from the Cougar. Andy, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey, Kelvin, when it comes to this team in particular, what's going to be the one thing that stands out the most about them as the years go on?
How much better they got as the season went on, and the tough year. This loss stings today. It'll sting tomorrow. But we'll get through this. Losing in the Final Four to one of the 2 best teams in the country. We're not going to hold our heads down or hang our heads over that. You know, this team can win a national championship. You know, if you lose to the national champion, why? You're disappointed you lost, but you're not disappointed. I was really happy with the way we came out the second half. Now, I would like to have played better the first half, but again, Baylor had a lot to do with that. But the growth of the individual players off the court and on the court, Dejan Giroux's maturity and leadership, Quentin Grimes becoming a warrior and a competitor, Bryson Gresham being a great teammate and leader for this team in every aspect. Justin Gorham going from a kid that just didn't get a lot of opportunities last year playing behind Fabian to being one of the best players at his position in America, being one of the best offensive rebounders in the country. You know, those guys and the leadership that they showed for the younger guys. You know, we got some really good players coming back. Fabian White, Tremont Mark, Marcus Sasser. Those three guys. And we got good young players. Kieran Powell, Jamal Shed, Jawan Roberts. And we got good players coming in. And obviously, we'll, like everybody else, we'll pick up some kids from this transfer portal as well. But we'll be back. We'll be back. We'll be good again next year. But this team, the teams before this team were trailblazers. Rob Gray's team was the trailblazer. Won the first NCAA tournament game in how many years? I think 34, someone said. Then the next year, we were going to go right. The next year, we went to the Sweet 16 and lost a heartbreaker to Kentucky. Next year would have been right back in the tournament. Then this year, we were groundbreakers. So we've had teams that were trailblazers, and now we had a team that was groundbreakers. The people that care about our university and care about our teams, they'll never forget this group. I know I won't. I'll remember this team for a lot of reasons. Great kids, the love they had for each other, how tight-knit the coaching staff was, and supporting these kids. It was fun. Yeah, I'm disappointed the season's over because I don't get to coach them anymore. But what a run, what a ride. Final Four, 28-4, 2 nets. You know, we've got a lot of memories,
Our final question is from Joseph Duarte from the Houston Chronicle. Joseph, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yeah, Kelvin. I know it's, I want to piggyback off of the last statement you made about just what you have coming back. And I know it's tough to look ahead so quickly, but you still are a young team. You lose probably a couple of guards and Gorham and Gresham. But, I mean, is that just getting these young guys an experience like this? How much does that maybe excel things or at least gives them that taste that they're no longer going to be, next year starstruck or not having not been in this situation?
Yeah. Well, they got to play against those guys every day. Jamal Shed came a long way. He's just he was playing behind. It's like Justin. We got some players that you're going to find out how good they are next year, just like Justin. We watched Justin every day last year, but I just didn't feel like I could go 20-20 with 40 minutes with him and Fabian. If you're a starter, you're the starter. I don't have 2 starters; I have 1. Jamal Shed will stake his ground next year. He's going to be good. I watched him improve this whole year. Marcus Sasser is going to get better. Tremont Mark. Jawan Roberts. Jawan Roberts had 14 rebounds against Boise State. 14. Kieran Powell. Those guys, and remember, they didn't have a summer. They'll be with Coach Bishop and our staff June, July, August, September before we start practice in October. And then we have the kids coming in. But, the perception of our program has changed, and our program has changed. I can't wait to play in front of sellouts next year. It's going to be exciting. But this team will never be forgotten. They broke the ground. They showed it can be done. And now it's up to these ensuing teams to stake their ground too. Looking forward to it.